I'm knitting the Magnolia Bloom Pullover by Camilla Vad, and it has a number of these bobbles here, and I thought I'd just show you the method that I'm using to make them, which is actually the method that's in the pattern. So there are a few different methods that you can use, but I just thought I'd demonstrate the one that's in the pattern because it might be helpful for people to see. So here are some ones that I've made. These ones down here are surrounded by increases, so they actually sit quite nicely, and there's not much large stitches around it due to the increases around the bobbles. This one here is a little bit more open, the stitch next to it, because there isn't an increase near the bobbles. So I'm about to make, this one later, I'll show you, I've seen other methods where people take this stitch and they wrap it around this one. I haven't got to that point yet. If I'm finding, either I'll ease that tension to the stitches around it, or I'll take that large stitch and wrap it around that bobble to help the bobble pop and also improve the size of that stitch. But certainly these ones here, I don't think that's going to be necessary because of the increases that surround the stitches. So it just depends which row you're on as to how those bobbles present. But I'm just going to show you now the method that I'm using, which is actually the pattern method. So I'm at the point where I have to make the bobble, and so I need to insert the needle into the front, wrap around, pull through, and I want you to see that I actually pull it out quite a bit, and then I insert the needle into the back, wrap around, pull through, and I'm actually pulling that quite a bit. I'm not keeping that needle close, I'm really pulling it out. Then I actually insert in the front, wrap around, pull through, and really pull it out, and then back, wrap around, pull through, and pull that yarn out, front, pull that yarn through, and then back, wrap around, pull that yarn through. So I've turned one stitch into 6 on this side here, so there should be, because it was front, back, front, back, front, back, so there's 6 strands here, and then I need to take them and pass the last one that was just cast on, take the other 5 and pass them over. Now how you get them over, I'm going to put a little bit of tension here, is up to you. You can do one at a time, a couple at a time. I'm doing just as many as I need to, and then I'm going to pull that bobble towards the front, and then I have to knit another stitch and move across to the next bobble. So I'll show that again. I'll just get across to the next section and show you that one more time. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to make another bobble, and I'm just going to show you how I do it without sort of slowing the whole thing down, just in terms of you being able to see how much I pull out the needle. So it's in, around, pull out, back, pull out, front, pull out, back, pull out, front, pull out, back, pull out. So what I'd like you to see, hopefully, is that I really, when I say pull out, I'm really pulling that right needle towards me so that these stitches here are quite loose and they're not too hard to get. And they actually, obviously that creates the bobble. So the looser the stitches, the larger the bobble. And then I'm passing all of those other ones over. There's my bobble, and I'm just going to pull it through to the front and then continue on to another bobble. And then later on I'll show you what I end up doing with the large stitch next to a bobble. Obviously there's nothing that I really need to do down here, but I will definitely tidy that up in some version, whether that's moving it around that bobble or distributing the yarn. I'd say I'll probably do the method where you actually twist it counterclockwise, I think, and then pop it around that bobble to tighten that stitch and help that bobble pop out. So the last thing I wanted to show you was one way to tighten up a stitch around the bobble. So this one here, for example, this top one, because it doesn't have an increase near it, the stitch next to it is actually quite large and elongated, and that bobble is sort of sinking just a little bit as compared to the other ones that do have increases around them. So I saw this on Wool Needles Hands. What you want to do is actually take this stitch that's next to the bobble and pull some of the fabric out, twist it and wrap it around this bobble. I did it on this one here, and you can see that it's tightened up the stitch next to it, and it's made the bobble pop a little bit more. So I did it on this one here. I haven't done it on this one here, so I'll just show you what I want to do. Is this large stitch here, I'll pull that sort of that right bottom, if it's sort of upside down this way, pull that leg out here. Just pull the fabric, the yarn out, and then twist it counterclockwise, and you want to wrap it around that bobble. So you actually want that bobble to go through. So you're actually pulling a fair bit of yarn out. It can be a little bit tricky to get it through. See, I'm sort of manhandling it a bit. So I've just wrapped it and twisted it counterclockwise and wrapped it around it. And you can see that the bobble, hopefully you can see that, the stitch next to the bobble has been tightened up because I've pulled the yarn out and wrapped it around this bobble, and the bobble sits a little bit prouder, you know, sort of out off the fabric, more like the other ones that did have increases around them. So I hope you found that helpful.